Τώρα θα λάβουν χώρα οι δηλώσεις των ηγετών προς τα μέσα ενημέρωσης.
Now, with the statements of their excellencies, the presidents, the floor is yours.
Κύριε Πρόεδρε, κυρίες και κύριοι, είναι πάντα μεγάλη χαρά μου κάθε φορά που συναντώ τον Πρόεδρο της Αραβικής Δημοκρατίας της Αιγύπτου, τον πολύ καλό φίλο Abdel Fattah al-Sisi και τον βέβαια φίλο μου, αδερφό μου, Πρόεδρο της Κυπριακής Δημοκρατίας Νίκο Αναστασιάδη. Πολύ περισσότερο σήμερα στην Αθήνα και στην ένατη πια σύνοδο του σχήματος συνεργασίας Ελλάδος-Κύπρου Αιγύπτου.
We gather at the beginning of the 9th trilateral summit for this tripartite summit that comes in its 9th edition, and after signing on the agreement of collaboration in the field of commerce, and for sure throughout our joint mission, we have added another 2 memorandums in relation to the interconnection for our countries, for the transmission of electricity, and also collaboration in the field of migration. So allow me to indicate to the first memorandum of cooperation, where electricity is actually not just point of joint interest, and it's not just one of our strategic priorities for our countries, but actually it's also a bridge from Egypt to Europe, since Egypt is capable to play this pivotal role in terms of the security of the European transition electricity, especially in terms of the great conflicts in electricity market. So we still find that Egypt participates very actively in the network of transportation and distribution of gas and transmission of electricity. So those are all related to the signing of the memorandum of understanding for linking between Egypt, Cyprus and Greece. Meanwhile, we look forward to have a variety of sources of energy that can enable Egypt to be also one of the fundamental resources of exporting electricity emerging from solar systems. And through Greece, it can reach to Europe. In other words, our countries, our 3 countries, could be the centralized unit of electricity in the Mediterranean Sea area. And we also collaborate in other aspects, like our collaboration in terms of combating the coronavirus protocol. And for sure, we have sent Egypt 250,000 of the vaccines. And we also collaborate in terms of the climate change on the long term. In addition to this, also on the short and medium term, by producing electricity from the renewable energy sources. And actually, we have discussed in this regards how to collaborate and how to have a new open horizon, since we have our 3 countries that have this great sun and wind and also sea resources. So we've got the chance to discuss on the regional developments and our stances that are identical when it comes to condemnation of the hard and the violent actions from Turkey, and all of these exercises and practices from ship, and also the penetrations inside the Cyprus free trade area. So it just leaves no space for doubting that they have these bad activities from Turkey against its brotherhood countries in the Mediterranean region. It's a clear threatening to security And as you know, we have also other horizons for a constructive status for resolving these Cyprus issues. And as for our stance that has come in the joint statement, we would like to confirm and reiterate to commit to the resolutions of the UN and the Security Council, and it is a must to resume back the dialogue. And this is exactly what's been urged by the Secretary General of the UN and also for the Cyprus, to make sure that we can have secure instability and to sign usually on all of those steps in the framework of the International Council, and to strengthen its role in the strategic role. And that's all in the framework of the international legislation and to build peace generally. So our three countries are committed to respect the international legislation. Cyprus and Greece have also agreed on numerous protocols and agreements along with Egypt for marking sea limits for the international sea coasts, and this has been done throughout a long time frame. And these compliant agreements are to be role model for any side that would take unilateral exercises that may result in threatening for conduction of wars. And again, this is not identical with the concept of this century, the 21st century. Hence, we've been discussing situation and escalations of the situation in Libya, which has its own impact on the whole region. And also for the election in December with no delay is considered to be also a step towards creating stability and withdrawing of all of those European forces. This is why Cyprus, Greece and Egypt reiterate numerously on the importance of the democratic transformation and the transitional steps. This is why we get to the initiatives for the economic collaboration, and by which we can shape our contribution on the ministerial level in Tripoli, and also by the conference which is scheduled to be conducted in Paris on Libya. Finally, I want to confirm that Cyprus, Greece and Egypt support together the settlement in Afghanistan urgently, and we do collaborate in terms of the file and issue of the refugees, which is one of our main concerned files in Greece, and we will still keep defending our borders and the European borders in front of the flow of those humans who have become suffering a lot because they are now bones in hands of those smugglers. Therefore, we have to pay tribute to this calm situation that Egypt adopts, that has requested nothing in return for tackling the refugees file, but in fact Egypt combats these networks of the smugglers, and it's a great practice and role model that we can learn from, and it's away from any other parties who may exploit the situation. And again, finally, I would to reiterate that we stand by our Cypriot brothers, and we are just having the same common interests along with Egypt. We have just the same common community interests, and we have the same culture and civilization since Necratis in Delta till Alexandria. And for sure, The Greek people have always been living in Egypt, and even in the past few years we have also tens of thousands of Egyptians live on our territories. So this ties is being strengthened by the historical and the common ties. This is why we welcomed the linking and the interconnection between Egypt and the European Union that's been just recently signed in Cairo. Therefore, we will push the interconnection between European Council along with Egypt forward. And I would like to confirm that Midnight Conference, the European leaders for the Mediterranean region, we have confirmed on the dimension for this, and hereby, Your Excellency, you can just rely on this collaboration that we have, and anything related to the climate change files, security files, the sea borders, as such agreement that we signed on, and also the files related to the energy, as you can find by our statement for today for this electric interconnection between the three countries and all other related files. Actually, the horizons of collaboration between us is just as big as the Mediterranean Sea that unifies all of our interests. So you're most than welcome, Your Excellency. The floor is yours. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, the Prime Minister Kyriakos, Your Excellency President Nicholas, ladies and gentlemen, it is with a great honor to be with you here in our Greek capital that I'd like to pay tribute for their great and warm hosting and organization for this 9th summit, which is the tripartite collaboration between Egypt, Cyprus and Greece. As you all know, this tripartite collaboration has its great significance for sharing visions towards achieving numerous development in the collaboration relations for the sake of our countries and our people, and to be developed on economic, political and cultural levels, and on security and military levels, in addition to discussing the numerous files of common interest that can help and strengthen the efforts of the three countries to confront the big challenges that our region faces, or the international arena is facing in general. And also we can talk about the positive collaboration that we have existent for combating coronavirus, for what this pandemic has unprecedentedly providing such great strengthening for the efforts for improving our life standards and our development. Thereby, we get our commitment to work and to strengthen our projects emerging from the mechanism of our tripartite projects, on top of which is the electricity promising sector. And here I'd like to pay tribute to the great various development that's been framed today by the signing on the very important tripartite signing in the electricity interconnection, in collaboration for what's being done just recently for the electric network interconnection in Egypt between Egypt and Cyprus and also Greece, which is considered to be just a preliminary step that get us closer to our common interest that the three countries look forward, which is the future electricity interconnection with the whole countries of the European continent. And also, it goes without saying that we all should work on pushing this forward to have achievement for the sea pipes for the transmission of electricity from Cyprus to the two plants in Damietta and Utco, as to export the Egyptian electricity to Athens and afterwards to the East Mediterranean and also to West and Mid-Europe. This also comes in line with the great aspirations that we got for the conference, where we were working on planning for the collaboration on regional projects and to enhance leveraging the countries and the people of the gas and the hydrocarbonic resources in the Mediterranean Sea in compliance with the related international collaboration rules and in respect of all of the resources and assets. Also, we got the summit as a new opportunity for discussing the international and regional files, especially in the East Mediterranean. And in such framework, we again reiterate on supporting all of the efforts of Cyprus and all the concerned parties for finding a holistic, fair solution for the Cypriot issue in lines with the related international regulations and international cooperation. Also, we've tackled this important file of Libya, and we come to an agreement on the conduction of the elections on December 2021, according to the roadmap that being agreed by our Libyan brothers, and also to have exclusion for all of those rebellion forces that can help in regaining settlement and security of the Libyan territories by its own sons. Also, we've tackled the repercussions of the Palestinian cause. As you all know, that it's still very significant as for the escalations that we found from both sides in last May. This escalation that we were working our best to conclude, and emerging from Egypt's historical role in finding a holistic, fair solution for this conflict on the settlement of both countries and to enable Palestinian people to construct their countries along with its Jerusalem capital. We also discussed from another point of view the Syrian file, and here we also reiterated on the efforts by the UN envoy for the conduction of the related Security Council regulations and to have international role in terms of preserving the security and the unified regional status for the Syrian lands, and to make sure that there is no internal or invention into the internal affairs of the country. We've also reiterated in such framework on the importance of combating those terrorism networks so our Syrian brother country can regain their stability and security. We've also expressed our support for our Syrian people, in addition to all of this transparent support that can help our Lebanon people to also get to their economic development and better settlements for the lands. On another hand, we've also tackled what the extremism and terroristic networks can have as these negative and chaos impacts on hindering these steps that we try to get towards development and to create these crises and catastrophics like the illegal migration and its related smuggling activities. Ladies and gentlemen, the meeting with our brothers in Cyprus and Greece was a great opportunity to tackle for the inclusive and comprehensive vision of Egypt for the whole human rights dimension, taking into consideration the cultural, social, economic files, and so to confirm and have an exact change and tangible results where the citizens can have their activities and have their duties that been stated by laws and regulations. And also, it's been made clear that this understanding of Egypt recently by launching the National Strategy for Human Rights to be the approach and national holistic framework for the Egyptian approach in that regards. Your Excellency, the Prime Minister, Your Excellency, the President, I wouldn't express at the end of my speech, but to express to you, my both dear friends, with my gratitude for your great commitment to strengthen our ties between our people and our countries, and your great concern to have this mechanism towards more wider horizons. And I hereby reiterate that Egypt would like to host the 10th edition of the Tripartite Summit next year, and thank you so much. Your Excellency, Mr. President, my dear President the President of the Republic of Egypt, my dear brother and friend, the President of the Republic of Egypt, my dear Prime Minister of Cyprus, of Greece. I'd like to just reiterate on also the warm and the very well organized event that we've got, as you know, my ladies and gentlemen and the distinguished attendees here, that usually the last speaker maybe will just quote what the previous speakers have stated, and in that case he would be felt like somehow annoying, or actually can just summarize and highlight some of the important points that have been already discussed. So hereby I'd like to express that I was here just coming after the great presidents who have already discussed it in full, and for sure Cypriot has discussed the relations along with the EU. And for sure, my dear brother, the President of the Republic of Egypt, has also discussed the files related to the Mediterranean region. So here I'd like just to highlight the importance and significance of this mechanism and this identicality in the stances that we have that can help us to be pillars of stability and peace in our region for the sake of all of our people, not just for our people, but actually it would extend further to the EU. And also there is the joint collaboration in energy files, the importance of combating terrorism and to build peace and to create settlement on lands. And in such a framework, the final points in the Cypriot files, I would just confirm on the stances that we find from Cypriot, and also these aggressions from the Turkish parties and these exercises that we can see against the Augustus Famagusta, and also the exploitation of the territories that haven't been for the ownership of the Turkish, but it's just under the control of Turkey, and they've been exploited, and Turkey just looking forward to have them for the sake of creating base for drones, the aviation, and also to create a military port. In addition to these activities from their side that we just witness from this policy that not just affects Cyprus but actually goes beyond to Aegean Sea and to the sovereignty of Iraq, and also in what relates to Armenia. Such policy where Erdogan just assumed it's called as the transparent nation, and for sure we say that this is not acceptable. As for the Cyprus-Turkish stance, which is related to finding a solution to have two countries, and as I have informed my dear brothers, the Prime Minister and the President, that for 27th of September in New York, where the UN General Secretary has actually exerted great effort to ensure having better situations, to have a common understanding or common understanding where we can have a framework by the resolutions of the UN to find the resolution by the UN resolutions, and for sure the Security Council resolutions. Otherwise, without such a framework, they've been just repeating once again that we cannot create a dialogue unless that will be preceded by acknowledgement for such entity which comes in parallel with the acknowledged Cyprus, which is acknowledged by UN, and for sure a sign-in envoy, special envoy from UN, who can find the horizons that can create fruitful environment by which we can conduct such dialogue. And however, still, unfortunately, and due to the opposing that we found since July 2017 in Sweden, where we still have, by all of those efforts from the Secretary General envoy, we just got back to the first and initial steps. And this is why I told you, Mr. President and Mr. Prime Minister, that we still insist on conducting dialogue in terms of implementing the resolutions stated and released by UN, and to find all of these situations by which we can ensure the compatible environment to have a European country that not just preserve the Cypriot, the Greek and Cypriot people, but also to have it for the Turkish Cypriot. This is already within the framework of the international cooperation and international council resolutions. So all what we exert here as collaborated steps, and along with the Prime Minister and also along with His Excellency the President of the Arab Republic of Egypt, in framework of the Islamic collaboration framework. So we need to activate the dialogue by which we can see at the end how Turkey can acknowledge and can understand that it's for their interest to contribute in resolving the issue of Cyprus, and based on principles and not based on policies or on those behaviors that they try to categorize such country as a country creates tensions, and that they have expansion intentions. So for the Mediterranean countries, you wouldn't be able to say that those countries collaborate together to be just numbers for peace and settlement, and that Turkey to be just they have in their own unilateral exercises. So ladies and gentlemen, I want just to confirm that these meetings of the trilateral summit and all other related meetings and all of those related to interconnection with European Union, they are never targeting any part, and we do not exclude any part, even Turkey. But they just need to acknowledge and respect the international law, and to have respect to the sovereignty of the brotherly countries. Hereby, I thank you all.